We are recording.
So Jim, do you have thoughts on like which thing we should look at first? Like, are you amenable to trying to spin up a test node for that we can bring some more people in to test with us? Because we need some content, right? We need some videos, let's say.
Yeah.
And so if we have like something that we can push out to a few people and say, all right, guys, rent some server space here, or we go to IBM or something and get some free server space.
Right.
And then give everyone a copy of our node to run. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. I mean, the thing is that we don't really have anything ready to run. I mean, I was working here while you were talking. I'm not sure what I had that was ready.
You don't have anything. I'm saying we were talking to 3 other guys that were talking about giving us an implementation of an R node that we could use specifically just to store media content until sharding exists. Because there's no sharding, we need our own local, non-local server.
Right.
You know,
Well, running RCAT is a little bit of a challenge. If you're going to run RCAT, you're going to need help running that.
I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about RCAT necessarily. I'm just talking about storing the content. Like RCAT is going to create a DRM solution for streaming the content off of this private server. And so what we have to have is something that exists to store the content on. That's a distributed storage system of some type that's encrypted.
Yeah. So you're thinking of running in essence a shard or a var chain for that purpose? Is that what you're considering?
Yeah, but it's not a shard because it doesn't exist yet. So it's just a test net, a private test net.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can experiment with it, essentially on a single user system, and if we're satisfied with how it works, we can, create a network. But
so you're saying actually just spin up one version of it?
Spin up one node as a single user and store content on it. See how that works.
That's interesting. So rather than trying to do it with 5, because I wasn't sure if we needed more than one to make it work.
Well, you need more than one to have
speed, right?
No, it actually would be slower. But to be, you want as many nodes as possible for it to be. So if one goes down or goes south, it doesn't. You have 4 other copies of it that.
Yeah, redundancy.
Yeah. Yeah, which is important. But you're saying we don't need to do that at first. We can just spin up one copy and see all the functionality. It'll actually, in practice, be faster.
Yeah.
And then once we want to invite more people in, we can spin up additional copies, and it should, in theory, seamlessly work. Once we give it to more people, or is it like a whole separate process of integrating more versions, more copies?
Well, I mean, we could get other nodes to join the network. It's basically Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could, other nodes could join after the fact if we were, once we have some content there, we can have other nodes come in. We can even be prepared to have other nodes bonded. That'll be bonded to the network.
When you say bonded, what do you mean?
That means they're a legal validator and they have a weight, which is the stake that they have in terms of the test rock that they hold. That's bonded in essence, so that they're basically betting on blocks. And if they're honest, they're going to make some money in rocks, in principle.
Actually being rev by that time.
Rev. Yeah. Sorry.
But now the question is, do we need to have a stakeholder system for a private decentralized network? Do you get remunerated? I mean, this may not be a question for us to answer. This may be a question for Ned to answer. But like, if we set up a private network, I thought the whole point is that like we're not really paying. There's no currency exchange for hosting that network.
Yeah, only for security purposes. That's the only reason you do it, for security. I mean, if you have some bad players that hook to the network and steal the art or whatever, you want to try to steal the art or whatever.
But they can't because it's encrypted. So it's like they would need the private key in order to get in to begin with.
Yeah.
So I guess is this a question that should we start pursuing this with Ned Lamouette?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Lamouette's doing, how that would be. So, yeah, Jim's probably the best to speak to those technical aspects. But well, I think with Lamouette, all of that is maybe step 2 or step 3, or I think right now it's just Jim creating the smart contract and getting it, on testnet, testing it out that way.
We have it though. We have one though, Jim. We have one that Jim made like weeks and weeks ago.
Is that right, Jim?
What do we have?
Didn't you make a test smart contract for you started making one weeks ago?
Yeah, it never got very far.
It didn't get very far, but it's just you could transfer ownership and 10% resale royalties on transference of sale was built into it.
Yeah, no, it was never finished.
So just to bake in that
it was just started, and I'm trying to think where that is. Did we save it anywhere? That's the question.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't much work, so it could always be done again. But it's probably going to take a few hours to get a basic contract that we might want to start with. And there was an issue of, I guess, interfacing with the wallet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because the wallets aren't finished yet.
We would take the.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what you know, yeah, you know, it's definitely going to take some effort to put.
Well, I think we have to start doing this at some point, right? So the question is, should we start doing this today, or should we just plan on really getting our shit together and starting next Monday on starting to prioritize what needs to go into this to create just some kind of basic test contract? Like, would it be maybe what I should do is, like, I was thinking about this today. Like, I really kind of want to start assigning myself homework after these meetings, just so like I just kind of put things in. What I'm thinking is maybe what I can do is come up with a list of like 5 things. What are the top 5 important things that we need to start thinking about for the contract, and then just like create sort of subsections of other things that maybe become later. But what are the main 5 things that we need to have this do just to demonstrate basic functionality, like transference of resale royalties? Can we just do that? You know?
Right. Yeah,
and then,
that's.
And what is like the basic field? What are the basic 5 fields of information about the art object that need to get embedded with that? Like, not everything, just 5 fields of things that someone fills out. This is a piece by Eric Berry Drazen. It was made in 2020. It's 10 minutes long. It's on a 1080 by 1920 video, blah, blah, blah. It's just, these are the things that the fields that we fill out just to identify the art object. Here's the hash for the file, you know, and then just try to make it so we can put it on mainnet next week.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've gone over this, but I never like made like an actionable thing. Like, Jim, would that be helpful?
Yeah, so we created a smart contract, and I think we tested out on testnet, so we understand what the cost of the execution would be. Because when you deploy it and you run it, there's those costs involved, and so. But yes, I think that's certainly the priority right now is the smart contract, and within the smart contract, what are the priorities? What do we want it to do? Yeah, that's
the priority. Instead of where do we store the media file?
I think getting something, a contract that's going to govern and manage this process is, well, they're both important. Which one do you do first? To me,
I like the idea of ultimately working with the artist's rights and transfer sale agreement and making a smart contract out of it. I think if we actually did that, even if it was not completely done, would be a huge achievement to actually encode that in a blockchain based smart contract. Right. And that's something that we could then take and it like whip up support for the project with, because it's something identifiable, people know about it. And then, dealing with all the distributed storage, streaming stuff, like I always considered that secondary. I mean, the fact that they're trying to make RCAT into a thing again, I think is awesome. But like, ultimately, I think I agree with you that our work is with the artist rights and transfer sale agreement for now, as opposed to the nuts and bolts of like, how are we going to stream it? Where are we going to store it? Because there's options for doing that at this point.
Yeah, I agree. That's, and kind of thinking about, the language we used to talk about, that smart contract is the art, that's the art piece. So, yeah. So, and it's going to take a while for us to refine it and get it to work. So it's writing code. This is in Rolang. I'm not an expert in Rolang. Gary has some ability. Jim is probably the most schooled on it. So, but I think as far as, so I think it's requirements gathering. So, Eric, you're kind of the guiding force is writing out what the requirements for the smart contract are, and then with the four of us, then we start to think about, the logic of the smart contract. How is this, it needs to be written in Rolang, and then it's, getting in there and writing up that smart contract in Rolang. So, those are the and I think that right there, it's, Jim said it, it's an hour or two.
Well, I mean, what we're talking about here is, a prototype, right?
Yeah.
Not, and this is what we had. This was the layout that we had here. We created an art object, and the art object. What's this transfer agreement? Top level here?
Oh, I don't know. What is it?
Okay, well, we have the art object. It's going to have a buy, sell, data, an artist.
Oh, my screen freezed up. Can you hear me?
Object.
Yeah, I can hear you.
And then some admin functionality, which we didn't define. Okay.
My screen is completely frozen.
What? I'm sorry?
My screen is totally frozen, so I'm not able to see what you're typing. But I can hear you. It's weird.
Okay. Maybe you need to
give me a second.
Reboot
yeah,
or sign off and sign back on.
Let me see if it frees up in a minute.
All right. Jim, is this smart contract in your GitHub repository? Is that where you found it?
Actually, I didn't find it there. So git status. So apparently.
Oh, there we go.
Apparently, it is in the repository because yeah, because these are already in the repository. So which is my repository? Let's see. How do I do this? Git remote dash git remote dash A. Nope. Dash V. I wonder, where does it put this? Does it put this in the ArchChain community? Or does it put
yeah, maybe that's, well, I don't know. Yeah. I could.
What happens if I take off the V? Hit remote. Well, I mean, I can always look at the dates, see which is the current one.
So is the file name?
I can't get either Delta or Fork Delta to work today. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Is the name of the file artobj.row?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So that's right. That's it right here. That's under Jim Scarver. And that's under the Art Chain community here. Oh, here's a repository for art on the blockchain.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Let's see here.
And you can see here, art is not here.
Oh yeah, that'd probably be a good place to have it.
2 commits behind Brandt's Jim Scarver master. So what if I do a pull request right here? Where's the repair?
I'm transcribing parts of the agreement right now into a Google Doc that I can share with you guys so we can look at it together and figure out how this translates to Rolang.
Okay.
I'm picking out just 2 little pieces of it. I'm not, there's more to it, but we can focus on those parts later.
Okay.
And I realized that this may look different as a smart contract.
I'm not finding our art on the blockchain repository on our chain for some reason.
What do you?
So you said that
Chain community.
our chain community. That's right. I had to bear with me here.
Okay, so I'm just going to make it update it now. The heck with it. Able to merge. This is why.
Oh, come on.
Okay, I just updated it so that it's in both.
What's the best way for me to share this with you guys? Can I just give the link in the Discord?
Yeah, that'd be good. We'll have
Posting the link right now.
What is this? Oh.
So like, in other words, like if this was somehow embedded in the information that the user fills in, this is the way it's currently worded in the original agreement, right? So I'm assuming that these are forms that or some kind of field that people can fill out. Well, that will then bake this information into. Well, the way it's stored on our chain is different than I'm used to understanding, right? Like there's some difference in concept and how this works. But basically this information gets stored directly onto the blockchain and is indexable and searchable and bring it back up, right?
Yeah. So my understanding is, so say if we had a web interface, and someone and it's this contract which appears, which has fields, which has drop downs, for instance, dates and different criteria with the drop down. So as you go and you do the drop downs and you populate, you're creating the inputs for the smart contract. So you've got it all set up the way you want, and then you hit submit, and then that submit it gets deployed out to the ArtChain platform so as far as the mechanics go, it would be a node validator would deploy it, and it would be deployed to all of the so it'd be deployed on our chain, and it would be in our space, and there it would live in perpetuity. So that's where the cost involves. So with that deployment of the smart contract, there's that cost. So it's stored out in our space, and then when any of the criteria of the smart contract happens, then you have that execution of the smart contract, of the blockchain art smart contract, and then the artist gets paid, or a certain percentage transfers of funds and so forth. So hopefully some of that made sense.
Yeah. So in other words, it's a publicly accessible record.
Right. Yes. So it's publicly accessible. So all of the identities and so forth are all unforgeable names, and those identities, so I'm the artist, and I'm going to have funds transferred to me after the sell and resell. Who I am, my identity is I'm now become a 15 character digit, which is unforgeable, that no one can see and create, forge. And so I think that, so our blockchain is a public blockchain. So anyone can go and read the blocks, but they don't have complete access to anything and everything. So that's where there is security in there, and yeah. So I have to get more comfortable with the concepts, and then how to explain this to other people as well. So, but what we're doing right now is creating that, with the Rolang, is creating that smart contract, which is going to get deployed out onto the platform. And and when we do that, so it's our chain is going to charge us for that, but in exchange for our rev that we're paying, it's now stored on the platform in our space. So it's there, and it's ready for the contract to be executed at any point in time in the future.
But now here's the issue, though. I'm just, in terms of like me understanding the variables that we're asking people to enter into this sort of pre-formatted contract, are they stored? Is it okay for me just to think about this like any other database? Like it's just,
It's a fancy database. That's what blockchain is. It's
and the stuff around the in the fields, like is executable, but like basically we can store this. It's as a smart contract with certain fields that can be updated over time. Like for instance, provenance, right? Like the thing about like storing ownership data, is that like a field that we can then just continuously add to without, or are we creating an entirely new contract each time the object gets sold? Like on Ethereum, it's an entirely new contract, right? You can't really update. Well, actually, well, no, that's not true. You can using, I think, a side chaining, but my understanding is this works differently than that.
Well, with blockchain, it's all you can't really go back and change what's in the past. You can only update in the future, add to it. So like canceling out the past contracts, say don't use the old one now, use the new one. So my thought is if there's needs to be a change with the smart contract, it's a new contract. The old one is discontinued and you're using the new one, because you can't go in and you can't go and manipulate the old one. It's on a blockchain.
So the point of interference, though, to designate, okay, we're now using this new contract.
New contract. Yeah.
There has to be a point of interference there that states, okay, now we're like mediating the thing that's mediating. It's like almost like you need like three. This is like, oh wow, that's like almost like, I think we just realized a whole separate set of functionality where it's like now we would need three people to all agree that we're creating a new contract. You know, that's like a whole totally separate issue, but that's something just to note for later.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have a new contract for an art object. I mean, you could have for example, you could change the resale contract associated with an art object.
Is it like object oriented? So like
we're gonna have like one resale contract that we're gonna use. That's it.
So is that resale contract? Is that referencing another set of instructions that are stored elsewhere?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So when we when we go to buy or sell, those functions are going to be part of the reseller contract. What we can have here, I just lumped everything into data here, but we can have a field called history. And that could be a list of provenance. So we don't need, we can add to that list without having a new contract.
And is it stored kind of like the way a relational database is stored, where there's like a file like called history that's related to the main file?
Not exactly. History is an unforgeable name. The name history isn't actually stored.
Oh.
That's a name that's we can use inside our contract here, and we can have a history channel where we keep it. History channel. Okay, and then we can basically store that as a list.
So it's a name. It's not a thing that is in and of itself is stored, but it's like referencing a point or a location where things are stored.
It's the name of a channel. Okay, the history channel, and we can one, two, one, two, three, 4, 5, Oops, what, so we can put, uh, so we can have a get history here. Okay, the same as the get data. You get data, I basically was envisioning just returning this information. Okay, which could be stored in JSON, or could be stored in separate fields, whatever. Probably be easiest just to put the data in JSON.
Hmm.
Um, and oops, and oops. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just showing you. Basically, what's the peak?
Two arrows, I believe. Yeah, a double arrow.
Double-headed.
Double-headed, yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, so I mean, I'm just so whenever we did an operation with that, we would add an item to the history list. You know, I'm just trying to show you how variables look.
So is each one of these get history by, these are all variables that you're defining?
There are methods.
They're methods. Wait, I'm sorry. What's a method again?
It's a function.
It's
It's
a function.
something you can do with an art object.
Okay, so we're defining functionality then.
You can buy, sell.
Okay.
So I just lumped all the information into the data.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we can stick whatever information we want in there.
And then, how do we, can we define, name the different bits of data which go into the get data function? Like, for example, can we put the name of the artist as one of the variables?
Sure. I mean, you can.
Like, how would that look?
Okay, so let's see. It would look like this.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you define name as one of the variables that goes into art object. But now, how does that relate to the get data function? Like, is all the stuff that's outlined below in the get data?
Okay, well, when I create a new object here, what am I going to do? I'm going to write to the data. Okay, well, actually, I have a certificate of authorization. I have an owner. I have contract. I can actually put any information I want in here. Of course, I didn't put any way to set it. Oh, so I can add any data with any name here, any value.
So is where the data is defined is below though? If like the variables, the descriptors for the piece of work is name of the artist, material,
Yeah,
dimensions, length, like all these,
that would be the key.
the key. So the key, and then the value would be the name of that thing.
Right.
And where do we define those values?
In our use case.
In the use case, so not here.
Not here, right.
So this is just creating the object, not, and then so we have to have a separate document, which is the resale contract, which defines all the information about it.
Well, all the information gets into the set data here. Okay, and then when we change this, it's going to become part of its history. Okay, so so date is going to be one of the fields. So we're going to have a key here, creation date, or okay, and we're going to have a value for that. And then we're going to have the artist, right? So we're going to have artist. Okay, I guess the artist and owner could be two different people, right? So we could have artist here and have a value. We can do it. I mean, we could, when we create the art object, we could put 100 fields here. Or we can just add the fields one at a time that we need. Since for different kinds of art, different fields might, and different kinds of agreements, different fields may be required.
Yeah, totally. I think having it be adjustable and modular like that is great.
So here we know we're going to have artist, collector. We're going to have a title, identification, date, material, dimensions, description, right? And then in addition to these, we're going to have an owner. Okay, and that owner is going to be an art chain account. It's not going to be a person.
Yeah, it's like it's here. It's like we did the collectors. My fucking screen froze again. God damn it! Oh no, it didn't. Okay. Mouse. Or out there, mouse. Oh. Yeah, like the collector is defined here. So we have basically the artist name, their address, collector's name, and their address. But in this case, the address can be their wallet address, which is trippy. I'm wondering, actually, that's an interesting question. Can your wallet address be a stand-in legally for your place of residence? I think for now we should have both. Because I don't know if your crypto wallet address will stand up in the court of law in the same way that your legal residence does. I you know what I'm saying?
Well, couldn't we make a differentiation, as far as, the artist's domicile is their physical address, but their wallet address is the address that their funds get distributed to with the resale of the art. So you have both, but they're both an address, but they have different functions.
I think, yeah, in a way it's kind of like part and parcel to this like other issue that we've been sort of dancing around, which is like sovereign identity management. Like if we had a tool that could manage both of those things, to really identify you, then they would all be integrated. But I think for now, we need two things. But wait, what was the point I was going to make about that? Oh, what I was going to say is like normally in crypto art, just the crypto wallet address would be enough. But because we're doing it this way, we have to sort of abide by the traditional legal structure for the physical address.
Yeah, and there's a whole question as to whether the artist has an art chain account or not. They may not. Right?
Well, they're going to have to get one. They're going to have to get one to use their system. You know, we're driving usability, dog.
Yeah.
Driving those users. Yo, everyone who likes digital art. Yo, we're driving users. Like wildly popular digital art.
Well, I don't know.
No, this is the thing. By concatenating everything.
What this should be is a DID. And the DID could have traditional fields.
No, I love it. I think that's the thing. The DID should be like the other thing that gets generated when you fill these fields out, right? So in a way, it's like you fill these fields out on a web interface, and that generates the smart contract as well as the DID stored as a JSON file. That was what we originally said.
Yeah. Well,
but for now, we can just do the smart contract and worry about DID later.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do it all at one time.
All at one time.
No, that's what we're doing. You know, we do it incrementally. I mean, what the plan here was to do the basic art object, and then the resale contract, which was the specific contract that you wanted to implement, which is the what do you call it? The artist reserved rights transfer agreement.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay, because there are going to be other agreements, and certainly for things like crypto kitties, you can have different contracts, right, or whatever.
Yeah, so it could reference a different resale scheme. Yeah. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we create an object, we associate a contract with it, and maybe we can change it. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not. I mean, the original owner of the artist probably have to authorize any change. The artist and the current owner would probably both have to sign any, agree to change in the contract.
Well, the artist, the seller, and then maybe like the gallerist and or like another mediating institution. So like the gallery, the artist, and the owner, or the gallery, the artist, the owner, and like the museum or something or some other, like there's a cluster of people. Like there's like I think you need 3 and possibly even a lawyer,
Right.
Like, there may be some kind of legal entity that also mediates it. Like we don't want it to be just the smart contract rules everything. It's like actually the people running the smart contract, which maybe means that we're talking about multi-sig wallets. Does that mean that is that really like?
Well, it's not a wallet so much as it's a multi-sig
token.
Multi-sig functions. It's like, I mean, they call it a wallet, I guess, in Ethereum.
Yeah.
But it's not about. It's about executing methods, or not. Not about. It's not about transferring money, right?
Yeah. It's just literally like the nuclear launch codes, like.
Yeah.
Got all the keys in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 207.
Hey, couple things. Jim, could you put in the chat the link to that GitHub community repository? What if Eric, if you could grab that link and maybe put it into that document you just created, the smart contract for Rolang, that way it's there. And then and if that smart contract for Rolang document, if we could put that into the blockchain art folder.
It's been posted. Oh, the folder. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always forget how to find that folder.
So here, let me post the folder.
Can we pin that folder to the blockchain art group?
Let's see what
I
we
think
got
it
here.
probably is pinned already.
Let's see.
Oh, and also the GitHub art chain community. Okay, that's pinned as well. Here, let me.
How do we pin another? Oh, maybe. Oh, to click on that.
So.
Pin it. Oh, and then this.
So there's the link to the GitHub. Maybe if that can go into your document.
Where's the link to the?
Okay,
the
well
GitHub?
that doesn't have this.
In the Zoom
The
chat.
is supposed to be our repository, but what I have here is in the robot channel. So let me just where is it?
Oh.
I'll just take the.
Yeah, this has been pinned in the Discord. We have the Jim Google Doc.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, you already pinned it in September. Geez, I think I just repinned something that you pinned.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jim put up the GitHub. No,
Okay,
we've got
we have the GitHub associated with this project, which may not have anything in it. Okay, as part of the robot, I have the art.ro contract.
Okay.
Which I posted separately there, and we may have it.
Okay.
Which is just that one file, and
Okay.
you can see where we haven't. It doesn't do anything yet, really.
Right. So here's the link to the correct link to the GitHub, and then maybe if you copy and paste that into the document you're creating, Eric, we'll have that to reference.
robot blob. Okay, so art AOB is not it. It's Jim White Scarber robot blob master art document.
Yeah, apparently that's where it's at.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Smart contract. Yeah.
The art chain community.
yeah,
Art chain community.
Well, I think eventually we will want to have things migrate to the art chain community art on the blockchain repository, but
Right.
that doesn't happen to happen now or in the immediate future. I think that's just a goal.
Certainly, if we don't come close, we get a working prototype or whatever.
Yeah.
It should go there. But if it's just one or two files,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to keep working on this Google Doc for next week.
Okay.
I have like a bit more time this semester to pop into meetings outside of this Monday afternoon meeting. But I am basically spending the next 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks developing my thesis exhibition and writing. I told Steve and Gary a little bit about this, Jim, but I'm going to be collecting some of our documentation from our work sessions and using it as part of this exhibition to help tell the story about like the distributed art object and like what we're working on here. So I'm going to be sort of downloading some of the documentation from the YouTube and like cutting like chunks out, I think, and then displaying them on like small iPads that are mounted to the wall, like about 5 or 6, as part of this exhibition. And then I'll be developing like sort of diagrams and things talking about distributed art object, what are the tools we're using, what is R-chain, what is soft unionism, like what are all these different things that we're doing, and try and sort of tell that story visually over the next 6 weeks. I have to like work on this and get this show up, you know?
Right.
So that was why I was asking you for where the actual video files are stored.
Eric, you have that information now, don't you? You have access to the videos?
It's a good question.
Here.
I think Jim did give me access to it.
I think they're all public, aren't they?
Yeah, here I'm getting them. They're all on the YouTube. So it's the Divvy DAO YouTube channel right here. So you can go in. So when we post the videos, just look for ones that say it'll have a date and then blockchain art. And
Yeah, that's right. I downloaded all of the ones that we've done so far.
You got them. Okay.
Although the last one that we did, that I recorded, I don't know if it worked. It was oh wait, no, I do have it. Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I have it. I'll upload that actually to this channel. Although, can I upload? Jim, did you give me permission to upload to this channel? Because I'll upload last week's meeting to there right now.
Switch account. Divvy DAO. Let me see. I go to settings, right? I go to add or remove managers, manage permissions. EricDreisen@gmail.com. Yep.
Eric.Dreisen@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's your account. So what you do is I'll share my screen. I don't know if you're going to freeze every time I share my screen. But if you go to switch account here, you'll see Divvy DAO is one of your choices.
Oh, yeah, switch account, add account.
See Divvy DAO there? Maybe you have to accept the email.
Oh, hold on. Let's see.
I added you I gave you permission, but I think it wants you to say, okay.
Hold on. Let's see.
But if you look at, oops, what did I do? So if I just do a search for art here. And it looks like I got all of them. Maybe a couple extra ones. I'm not sure why. This one.
Oh, there it is. Here we go. Accept invitation. I don't know where did that come from? Accept. So now, oh, boom, there we go.
Okay, so once you select when you select that channel, there's a little triangle up here. then you can do an upload, and it'll upload. Now,
Yeah, I'm doing. I got it. So then, I got it. So last week was the 20th, 21st.
It was the 20th.
Okay, cool. It's uploading.
So I have this query equals art that gives us everything. Send that too.
I'm making a new playlist for the blockchain art stuff. I'm making a new playlist, so when we upload videos from blockchain art, it's going to go. We can put it on the blockchain art playlist on the channel.
Yeah, that's great.
See, right here, I just did query equals art. So that gets it, almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's uploading. I gotta leave it up, let it upload for a minute.
Yeah, that'll take a while.
Cool. All right. So for now, I am going to work on this document. So I'll have more stuff for us to talk about next week with that, in relationship to the agreement, and then maybe we can start working on the actual sale, the actual sale agreement next Monday.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll be one day. This time next week, we'll be one day away from Archain going live with mainnet.
Should I get a wallet? Should I get an Archain wallet so we can do tests?
Yes, right now.
Well, the Archain wallets are going to be different for. I guess it could be testnet.
So we're not going to have the real wallet until they go to mainnet, basically.
We've got the real wallet now.
A standalone system.
All right, Gary, can you work with me? Like maybe not right now, but like maybe tomorrow or Wednesday to get a wallet going.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll ping you off chat, and then we can figure out a time. I'm around all day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cool, guys.
I don't know that we'll be able to point that wallet at our test system. It doesn't have that ability right now. I'm not clear if we have all the sort. I don't think we have all the sort. So we might have to. I'm not going to make it tomorrow to the wallet session.
Okay.
Should I try to go? It's at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that would be a good time for you to get set up. And,
all right, I'll show up tomorrow. I have time tomorw. Tuesdays is a good day for me now.
So if the thing is, if we're gonna run our own test net, okay, we have to have the ability to specify that in the wallet. And
right.
the only thing we have the ability is to choose which node of testnet we want.
Well.
Or a local host.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is not good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to be able to specify the host, the host that we're using for our. We want to be able to set the sandbox. We want to be able to set any test network that we set up. We want to be able to use the wallet for any Archain network.
So
if you bring that up tomorrow,
okay.
Yeah, we need the ability to if we're going to set up a network for blockchain art,
yeah,
we need to be able to set a wallet for that. Now we can always use a command line wallet. Okay, we can always use accounts, that are in our wallets.txt file. When we set up the network, we can always set up we don't have to use the wallet, but certainly would be convenient. And it will be even more convenient once we can put blocks of code, deploy blocks of code from the wallet. That's a very easy feature to add. I hope Urban does it or provides us enough source code so that we can do it easily.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think having those discussions as far as, adding future functionality, how is that going to happen? Arvin, he's been kind of the ringmaster of My Arching Wallet. Does he want to take that role on, going forward? Or how is the delegation of duties and responsibilities
I know
going to
Thomas
happen?
was working with him somewhat, so I don't know how they're working together. But,
Arvin may not be with us tomorrow because of Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year is still going on. Yep. So, yeah.
All right, guys. I got to split. I got to teach pretty soon.
Okay.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.